prepare to have a super productive spring break. So first, before I do anything, I love to just get all my materials that I'm using for the year and completely organize them. I have one binder that I use for all of my classes, so I just went through that, cleaned it off a little bit, and took out some of the papers that I wasn't using anymore. I switched out the papers that I use for my Spanish class because it changes per unit, and then I just kind of flipped through it and just saw if there's any papers I didn't need anymore. This is just so helpful for whenever I come back and just seeing a fresh slate instead of opening a binder with a bunch of old work that I don't need anymore and just seeing so much more clutter. I feel like having a clean binder just represents a new start, even if it is just the second half of the second semester. It is just so helpful to feel clean and uncluttered in a place where you use everything for your schoolwork. I also went ahead and cleaned out my pencil case, just went ahead and cleaned out a few things in there. I also ended up going through my main bag and just getting rid of some trash. Secondly, setting goals is a huge part for me whenever I go on a break. It allows me to kind of take a step back from how the year is going and reflect and see what I need to change. I go on ahead and I separate it pretty much based on two big factors. Is it schoolwork or is it everything else? Because schoolwork's a big part of my life. So I already had a separate to-do list for it out of all of my homework, so I just kind of quickly jotted down a few things there. But I also wanted to consider things like hygiene and mental health, so I wrote out an extra section there for things that I want to accomplish in that. And the biggest part for me here in this section is just thinking, what do I want to get out of this break? And instead of listing a billion points on the to-do list of things that I am going to stress out over getting done and not relax at all, I set out just 3 big goals of what I wanted to get done. I made them super vague. I wanted to get ahead on some homework. I wanted to relax. Finally, I just wanted to establish myself in routines and goals that I want to have for the remainder of the year. And obviously those things have a bunch of under bullets, but if I can do a majority of the things, I'll feel like I have accomplished that goal decently well. I also just love to journal. Journaling helps me so much a part of this process because it is the best way for you to realize something, what you need to change, what you need to do. Third, I think breaks are super helpful for getting things that you are procrastinating getting done because they don't seem like they have a lot of value to you right now. So for me, that is setting up a LinkedIn and working on my resume to update it since I have the time. Those are 2 super big goals of mine. They're pretty easy, and it's just more of like a time thing, but I can do it while watching a show, and I went ahead here and just kind of started the process. Finally, and this is kind of related to number 2, but I always love to brainstorm how I'm going to make this next part of the semester even better than the first. So what I do here is I like to go through every single class and just quickly jot down kind of the big idea of what worked, what didn't work. This semester, I was experimenting with classes I would take iPad notes on, I would take paper notes on, maybe I would just type them up. And reflecting on that, I realized that some classes were really meant for that and others were not. So just getting it out of the way and thinking about this at the beginning of the break is also great because I can go ahead and start the process of transferring notes, of reorganizing myself. I think thinking critically about things and habits and how we can change them is super important when it comes to actually making a productive change. Instead of buying a bunch of new school supplies, just stopping and thinking, what didn't go well this semester? And how can I change that and make it better? That can be super helpful to you and your education, and especially doing it early on, that's going to make you so much more productive, and you can refine your methods and you can refine the ways you study up until you have just officially maxed out your productivity. So whenever I'm finished writing up my plan, just about things I want to change, I go ahead and type it up. And I've been working on a big master document with my to-do list for all my homework I want to get done. I have a few other to-do lists there, and I'm going to put those things on there so I can work to reflect on that as per my step 2. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all have an amazingly productive spring break. Thanks!